Welcome to the Global Marketing Show, the podcast for all things international business. I'm your host, Wendy Pease, president of Rapport International and a translation expert. Come along with me today as we talk to an expert in the global marketing world about facing their biggest fears, hearing about mistakes they made or saw, discussing best practices, and sharing fun travel, language, and culture stories. Hi, friends and listeners to the Global Marketing Show podcast. This time I'm doing a solo episode because I want to update you on some things that are going on. First off is we're changing the format of the podcast. We've done a long form format since we started about 2 years ago, where the guests are interviewed for about 60 minutes. As with everything, we're seeing attention spans drop, and we know that people want to come right in and get the information that they can about global marketing. So we're really going to focus on the takeaways that the guest has on global marketing. So I'll do more preparation on pulling out exactly what that is, make sure it's loaded still with good information, that you're taking away the tips. We'll do less of the personal stories. Of course, all stories about business are personal, with experiences, and that's where we get the learnings. But we'll have a little bit less on that. We'll keep my favorite part, which is the favorite foreign word. I always love to hear what that is. So we'll continue to end with that. We're also going to be expanding the show notes and creating articles from the show notes that we can launch on LinkedIn. So if you don't have a chance to listen to one and you're in LinkedIn, you can go read the article and learn what the guest has to say. So we're trying to make the information available across all the mediums that you might be interested in accessing it. And then we're considering going live on social. So when we actually do the recording, it would be broadcast live. So if you're interested in that, let me know, because then we can get more audience participation. And that would be really nice if you've got specific questions that you want to ask to any of the guests. But of course, in the show notes, we always put their links, either email or their LinkedIn or social media links, or how they say that you can get in touch with them. There are still lots of ways that you can get engaged. Number one is by joining the conversation on the Facebook group. It's called Global Marketing and Growth. And so if you look for the little symbol of the Global Marketing Show podcast, I think you should be able to identify it by that, but it's the only global marketing and growth group on there. So go join in. We're posting some of the fun Rapport International tidbits on there. And it's also an opportunity to ask questions that we can get you answers to and engage with what you think is going on in the world and in market. You can also follow the podcast. Love that you do that. We've learned that the podcast has been downloaded in over 50 countries. That just makes me feel so happy and so thrilled that we're getting the information out there and that our guests are being heard and sharing their experience. If you know somebody that's in marketing or interested in global marketing, feel free to pass the show along and forward it to them. A lot of people get in marketing and they think the United States is big enough. But, we talk a lot about the podcast of why it's so important to think global from the start. And even there was an interview with one of the guests that talked about how he has never been out of the United States, but they target the trade shows with international people coming in, and that's how they've built a global business. And then the final thing you can do to engage is refer anybody to me that you think would be a good guest. If you or a friend or a family or a business associate has some experience in international business, that would be a wonderful referral, particularly if they have a story that you think needs to be told. So we're always, keeping an eye out for good guests. We are scheduled out quite a bit, but if you've got somebody good to refer, we always want to hear it. In other big news, there's a second book coming out later this year. I am co-writing a book with Hannah Pence. We are taking the interviews with the people from the podcast that really had a good story to tell and some good advice, and we're wrapping that all in together to share the advice. My original book, The Language of Global Marketing, which you can get on Amazon both in paperback or audio, is available on Amazon. It's in Barnes & Noble and all the places that you buy the book. This is your primer for global marketing. It takes good general marketing practices and explains how to take them global. It talks about the benefits of global marketing and why you should do it. The second book, with the advice from the guests, I don't know what it's going to be named yet. That'll go more in detail in subject matter that I didn't get into in the first book. So I'm really excited about that. We've got about half the chapters done right now. We're working on the rest of them now, and then we'll wrap it all together and get it published and out. And so, of course, you'll hear about it, but I just wanted to keep letting you know that more information is coming out on my mission to educate and support people who want to do global business. And speaking of people who do global business and listeners, I just want to say a huge thank you for tuning in and listening to the Global Marketing Show. I think the guests that are on here have absolutely shared fantastic information for anybody that wants to do international business. Their personal experiences and their advice has been so happy. I love to engage with you or anybody that's doing international business. I've got a huge network of different kinds of companies, of logistics providers and consultants and incubators, whether you're coming into the United States or you're going out of the United States, trade show experts, lawyers, accountants, anybody that you need. I'm well connected with the global community. I'm always happy to make introductions to find you somebody. And so you can either reach out to me on LinkedIn, Wendy Pease, or you can join the Facebook group and ask in there, because I'm sure there's other suggestions. And of course, I want to thank the marketing team at Rapport International for sponsoring the Global Marketing Show. They do all the work on putting together the episodes and launching them, and make sure the show notes are done and the show is produced. And so the marketing team at Rapport International is fantastic. If you don't know Rapport International, they're the sponsor of the show. They've been in business for 35 years. They offer high quality translation, which is written, and interpretation, which is spoken, in over 200 languages. And they come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you know anybody that is struggling with communicating across languages and cultures, Rapport International, that's RAPPORTINTL.com, or Rapport, RAPPORT, translations.com is the company to check out. There's a huge learning center that Lisa, who's in charge of marketing, has put together. So you can just go to the search bar at the top of the website, put anything in there about translation or interpretation or global marketing, and you'll get a bunch of articles that come up. If something doesn't come up, let me know and I'll pass it along to Lisa so she can create some content and get an expert to write on it. So thank you so much for listening. We'll continue to launch our weekly episode of the Global Marketing Show, and let us know what you think about the new format, whether you like the shorter format and focus more in on the learnings for this. We're, in watching what's going on, we thought that people might appreciate that. But as always, we want to hear from you. We appreciate you listening, and thank you so much. I look forward to doing the next interview and having you tune into that. Take care. And again, it's Wendy Pease. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm all over there and love to hear from you. Bye-bye for now. That's a wrap for this session. A big thanks to you for listening to the Global Marketing Show. Hope you had just as much fun as I did. New sessions launch weekly on all places you find podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and of course on our website. If you know someone interested in this topic, please tell them about us. Au revoir for now.